think it's going to do a world of wonder for Tori, and he showed how good he is on that Ganesh, having not really played it this weekend, preferring the engage of Sobek, but I expect to see a lot of warrior bans out of both teams. So we look into the picks and bans here. We've got Kronos banned away by Kanga here. Okay, so for Kanga to beat Legacy, I think it's all about the early game again. Like the level 1 to level 5 is insane. I don't think there's anything that can beat it. Direwolves lost to it, and it's that blue buff control. They shut down Kiki and you can't do anything. So who do you shut down on Legacy? You shut down Mason. Yeah? And you shut down Idivine. Yeah. That's what worked for Direwolves in game 1 yesterday. If you can control those two, then you control the rest of the map, essentially. So Freemason has such a good presence, and he's been such a good addition to this Legacy team that he is kind of the driving factor behind their success, in my opinion anyway. Freemason has done such great work. We see the Ganesh does get banned by Legacy. Respect banning Tori, seeing how much work it did for the entire team comp of Kanga last time. So let's see what Kanga look for in a support now. Do they go back to the Sobek for Tori Skies, which hasn't been as effective this weekend, but seems to be quite comfortable on it? Yeah. Or do they go somewhere else? Do they go with a bit of a different team comp? I expect Ravana ban here maybe from Kanga, but they ban out the Kepri instead, so not wanting to play that themselves. It would have kind of suited the playstyle that they were looking for, but yeah, maybe looking for a more valuable solo or jungle pick with their first pick. Yeah. Okay, so Legacy up against Direwolves, no circuit. Perhaps Grand Finals, Legacy up against Kanga, maybe a circuit. The thing with that is that Morrigan is still open. Last match we saw Morrigan was banned every game. And we have a stat over here, right here. Okay. So 100% win rate for the Morrigan throughout the entire league, but only an 18% pick rate. So why not pick that? Because it's a cheater, right? Yeah. A cheater is the one that's getting those wins on the Morrigan. That's why it's banned against Direwolves. I don't think it warrants a ban against Kanga, at least. So Legacy leave that open because they don't have to worry about it. They don't even have to ban the Kepri because Kanga do that for them. We have a soul ban now, so those two kind of magical augmented or basic attack gods in the mid lane taken off the table for now. What do Kanga pick up here that is at the most value for them for a first pick, and that they don't leave a solid double pick? Because Erling Shen, Ravana are available, Erling Shen, Osiris are available. They can only grab one of them, and Legacy, I can almost guarantee, will take the other two. Well, they've gone for the Osiris, which means Bologna Erlang is open. Bologna Erlang, you've got Erlang Ravana, you've got pretty much Erlang any other warrior. You've even, you could even throw in an Odin
every single warrior is open
except for Osiris. Counters Odin fairly hard, being able to walk out of that cage, but Erlang is the first pick for Legacy. I expect a Raven pick here for Freemason. You know, it's always fun just holding down W and camping solo lane, right? Oh, going for the Raven, as you predicted. On point with these predictions today. I know he doesn't really enjoy playing it, but he plays it pretty damn well. So Legacy, go for this double warrior frontline that I expected, and I'm surprised by the Kronos Kepri ban from Kanga, knowing that seeing Legacy play yesterday against Direwolves, they saw them run this double warrior comp, and they take the Osiris away, sure, but Osiris isn't the only person you can throw into the jungle if you have an Erlang Shen solo. So no, I mean, if Kanga do lose this game, they go down 0-2 essentially in the series. I want to see them ban warriors.
Yeah, that seems to be it. Like the warrior meta is in. You got a jungle warrior, solo warrior, doesn't matter, and then you've got that frontline support. Or if you want to go for PL, you can do that as well. So we've seen a lot of support bans towards Direwolves mainly, but then it's the frontline that they shine on. So is there any point in banning the support? Tero picked up. Usually we see her banned or not picked at all. So. Second time we actually see her to this
It makes sense for Tori to be playing this Terra. It gives you that balance between peel and setup. Yeah. You can kind of set up with your stun, but then peel with your root, or vice versa. Camazot's Osiris, my only issue with this is a lot of the peel is now reliant on Terra. So if they go with a not-so-safe mid and ADC, they can find themselves in a lot of trouble. Geb gets picked up for Legacy. We saw how much work that did for them. They have all of their frontline now as well.
Yeah.
Just looking at it, Legacy just has double engage and a Geb to peel, or double engage and an Erling or a Raven to peel. Essentially, they're controlling the pace of these fights because Kamazots can get in and do damage, sure, but he's got to deal with 1 or 2 people trying to peel him from those characters. And while his ultimate is unpeelable damage, he has the potential to be burst down by these frontliners before he even gets up into the air. The second round of bans, the Morrigan actually does get taken away by Legacy.
Interesting.
Respecting Swifty's Morrigan, I guess. Just not wanting to deal with
Swifty pick that?
Because I don't expect Kanga to value it as highly. We haven't seen them go after it other than to ban it away from Direwolves. Which I think is just the most logical decision, is to just ban.
I don't think they want to deal with the double bat out of hell, because we saw Direwolves do that yesterday, and that's so much damage that you just can't do anything about. You can't peel it, you can't defend against it unless you're using Aegis or jumping away. So it's difficult to deal with, and Legacy are just like, no, we're not doing it. So.
And I expected this ban from Legacy. The Cernanos take that away from Galen. He was obviously comfortable on it. He did a lot of work in that split against Direwolves, and was the difference in a lot of team fights. And taking him off that god that he's just done really well on and be riding the high of it and be like, oh yeah, I really want to play that god again, taking it away by Legacy just puts a little bit of the doubt into Galen's mind, right? It's like, okay, well, now what do I pick so that I can be comfortable? And Hugi gets taken away from him as well. He's played that this weekend. Rama off the board. So does he go with the Medusa? I actually wouldn't mind the Medusa here, because it gives them a bit more CC, a little bit more lockdown potential, a little bit more peel if needed. But yeah, it's just big circles from Legacy so far.
Yeah.
And big damage numbers. So far the team fights are going to be going in the favor of Legacy, unless Kanga can draft something here where it goes back in their favor. They do pick up the Medusa, so...
What is that mid laner, though? Giannis. I like this.
So CC immunity, so he can't be locked down. He can get his team in and out. There's no cripples so far on the side of Legacy. So they'll be able to get in and out of these fights a little bit easier.
Yeah, and it was Swifty who played Giannis yesterday and absolutely destroyed Skyfire with it. So those through space and times were absolutely amazing. His portals were on point for damage and healing and peeling anyone on the team. There was only one mishap where he didn't save Tori because he misplaced that through space and time. But that one out of an entire game is...
Was that on Swifty or was that on Tori being out of position? He missed pluck.
Yeah, he missed the pluck, and then he went off to the side.
Against 3 people. And I can't blame
damn it,
Giannis
Tori.
There.
God damn it, Tori.
So I'm going to blame the support, you know.
Yeah.
If in doubt, blame support or blame jungle. That's all you got to do in Smite, guys.
Right. Blame the people who are trying to help you.
Exactly.
The way to go. Vulcan is the last pickup for Legacy, and Divine on Vulcan is very formidable. Everyone knows about Vulcan in the hands of Divine.
Yeah, Divine, another mid laner where you can't really ban out his god pool, right? He's very versatile. He's able to switch up his playstyle in between games quite flawlessly, similar to what a cheetah does. But Kanga are able to shut down a cheetah. There's some questionable jungle pathing from Direwolves over those games, but in the early game especially. But I don't expect to see that from Legacy. I don't expect Legacy to allow Kamazots Osiris to proxy farm, especially not against a Erlang Ravana. While they probably have the better clear, just the fear of being locked into a minion wave by a Raven and an Erlang Shen, I think it's enough to make, and Legacy will be aware that they'll be trying to proxy farm. It's what they've done in the games against Direwolves, trying to get that early lead. So they'll either be caught in that proxy or they won't go for it, and that gives Legacy a bit of an advantage just purely based off the fact that Kanga can't do what they want to do. And
So let's take a look at this Terra. So it's on Tori Skies. Normally we see him on an aggressive support, like Athena yesterday, the Sobek as well. And then, what else was it today?
He played Ganesh today, which is the opposite.
Peel, so Terra is a kind of a hybrid of that. You can go aggressive if you want to, but you can also peel. And it's more focused on that peel with the ult, with the heal and the root to stop people chasing, as well as the stun. But the stun is a lot harder to surprise someone with.
Yeah, it's the double setup of the stun having to activate it twice kind of thing. What she does bring is she has a decent matchup against Geb. Can't be knocked up when any of her pillars are available. Deployed on the map. So a little bit harder for them to peel the Terror if she is the one engaging. The issue for me is they're reliant on Yanis being safe enough to stay alive, Medusa being able to peel for herself, and Envisioner getting up into the sky. So running into game now, we've got Kanga are looking to try and get this proxy farm, but Freemason and Chuckles just standing in the jungle, making sure they can't even walk across there. So already trying to counter that early aggression from Kanga.
Yeah, and look at the positioning of Divine and who else is there? Is that Weave? Yeah, well, okay, so Weave and Divine were in a position where if Kanga had gone for the blue buff or the speed buff steal, they could get there quickly and they could help the rest of their team, and it just thwarted that invade. And we've seen Kanga do it every single game against Direwolves. That's what allowed them to win. KO down to about half HP. And the trades now in favor of them as they take Freemason quite low. But he's got the 3 when he hits level 2. You get the 3 second.
His Bracer Run doing is actually used as well. So in a bit of trouble as Freemason, he'll have to try. He's got the double pots ticking the multi-pot and the health pot to get him back towards full HP, and they'll be able to get this buff uncontested as Idivine and Weave again come over, grab the Elemental, I believe, and they have a ward there as well to make sure that no rotations are coming over to try and steal that blue buff away. So Legacy will be safe for now. Early kind of back and forward. Pretty even, really.
Yeah, I mean, normally
Trading
we would have
camps
seen
across the map kind of thing. So
yeah, first blood was taken in every match, in every game last match, by this time already. So it's definitely a slower paced game as we see the portal come out. The stun doesn't land because the beads from Divine, but it's the unstable vortex that takes him down so low. And Envisionize with a bit of poke on there as well.
Yeah, no shield yet from Weave. Probably hasn't put a point into it. You generally kind of level you clear first so you get through these camps. Limits caught out though here. Envisionize the early rotation, and Gallon will get credit for first blood. Kanga already on the aggressive foot against Legacy. Take first blood, and it goes to Envy. Sorry, it went the way of Galen, which gets him ahead, but Envy was the driving factor behind that gank. And
Aegis was popped as well, so that's going to be on cooldown, and he can go straight back there and do it again. They're shutting down limits because they know that he's a great carry. And then if they stop him from getting to the mid to late game, then he's going to do nothing. And that's what we've seen from Kanga is they pick a target and they shut him down. Last game, it was Kiki Omio, focus that blue buff, and now they're on the other side of the map and they shut down limits.
Yeah, a little bit behind in terms of experience. They are all now level 4, but the rest of Legacy managed to hit level 4 first, so they're about half a wave behind in experience just from neutral camps following the side of Legacy. But the important thing is that Gallon is ahead, and we saw what Gallon does with confidence. Got that solo kill on Mingyu.
Yeah, and he just popped off after that.
And then after that, he was unstoppable.
Yeah.
He got a triple kill, Black got a Blood Forge, and then ended the game. Just great work from Gallon. He's riding his adrenaline, and now he's level 5, and you know that Aegis down is for limits. I would like to see him posture to go into the jungle, wait for limits to follow him, and then immediately turn around and ult and try and catch him unawares. Because Aegis is down, he can't mitigate any damage, he's just taking free poke if he does get stunned. So I'd like to see him go for that aggressive play and really push his advantage even further.
Yeah, it would be lovely to see Kanga defeating Legacy because it's that underdog story, right? Everyone expected Direwolves to win the last game, Kanga come out on top, so if they can follow it through to the grand finals, that would be absolutely fantastic and so exciting to watch. First blood though, sure it's first blood, but you got to carry it through.
Yeah, and we saw them do it against Direwolves. They managed to carry through in the end, but the first game they had this lead and it stalled out. Second and third games, they managed to control their aggression in the mid game and not throw the fights to the side of Direwolves, and Direwolves were kind of just expecting them to do that. So Legacy, having seen that, I expect them to be able to put the pressure back onto Kanga to make them go for aggressive plays.
Indeed, indeed. So, oh, Freemason almost caught out. Does get stunned. The Vulcan ultimate over the wall. Gebshed will keep him alive in the knock up. Stun. Vision Eyes forced to use that ultimate. Going for damage, but he needs to get away. Will he go down? Sunbreaker on the ground as well. And the Aegis will keep him alive for a little bit longer, but it doesn't matter as Limits does pick up that kill. KO returns it onto Freemason. That's the jungler down. The stun onto 2. CC traded back and forth. Torry Sky's very low. Needs to back out. And that's just a 1-for-1 trade. Jungler for solo.
Yeah, so a couple of spills there, 1-for-1 trade, but you can see that first blood bounty on the side of Gallon. He is 500 gold ahead, and looking at the graphs, it's now 695 experience to Kanga, and only a couple of hundred gold though. Only really that first blood bounty fall there in their favor, but good positive early signs for Kanga. They don't have the kind of lead that they had against Direwolves, but they're sticking with Legacy. A little bit of a lead, and a lead in an important area in the terms of their ADC, who can really turn these games around.
Yeah, they certainly can. I mean, I feel like in this game, it's the ADC that's going to dictate everything, because the focus of Legacy around Limits is just protect him, make sure he stays alive, make sure he's dealing that damage, and that's what you really want to do. Whereas with Direwolves, it's more around Ochida and Rogue.
So good recognition from Kanga that that's the side of the map they need to work on, and the 3v3 fights have been pretty smooth so far from Kanga as well. They haven't really been caught too far out of position. If they have, KO's come over. KO with the solo attempt here onto Chuckles.
Lord of the Afterlife, will it be enough? The Geb Shield comes down and does help L Chuckles survive for a little bit longer. Will the heal come through? No! KO does get shut down. It's the through space and time that was there to help him get away, but he doesn't take it. He went for the kill. It was the risky play, but he doesn't get out. iDivine is in trouble. He doesn't have his Aegis online. Envision Eyes will pick up the kill, so it's a 1-for-1 trade, but Envision Eyes is so low and Freemason picks him up. Torry Sky is using that Terror's Blessing to try and help him, but it's not enough, so he just uses that movement speed to get away.
Yeah, good return kills there from Legacy, catching them out. KO chasing kills a little bit too much there. Needs to reel himself in just a bit. Wants to solo Chuckles, wants to get that, I guess, the same kind of feeling that he had against Kiki, where he's just bodying Kiki out of lane and making sure he couldn't do anything. But while Chuckles is very similar to KO in the sense they like to be very aggressive, they like to solo it, try and go for these solo kills. Yeah. He was able to rely on his team. The Geb Shield was perfectly timed, the Cataclysm was perfectly timed. Then he managed to get his own ultimate off, got enough mana up, and managed to escape. And Swifty burned his ultimate trying to get KO out, but KO just went, no, I'm going to get this kill even though I die trying. He just died trying, unfortunately.
He could have got out as well, because that true space and time was there in time for him to get through and to get out, but he didn't choose to take it. He went for the kill instead, but it wasn't enough. The heal was there. And even before the heal went off, he had died, so going for those risky plays, and it didn't work out, but it's still even, so he can still be that aggressive, and look how far pushed up he is in the lane. Yeah.
As soon as the Geb Shield came out, I think he just needed, and there should have been a call, like if Geb's there, then the mid lane is probably coming and there's more damage coming away, or at least the jungler will be there. So the smart play was to back off as soon as the Geb Shield came out. KO got a bit of tunnel vision, and Vision is now caught by that ricochet stun.
They seem to like this area of the map in between mid lane and the speed buff. There was a couple of kills there already. Envision Eyes had died there just a moment ago, and he's taken down to 30% HP, so why stay there? Because Divine and the rest of Legacy have the advantage within that area. If you're Kanga, you're in that choke point.
I mean, he has a lot of sustain in his kit, so he'll be able to heal up relatively fast, especially now that blue buff's spawning. He's just kind of hanging around so get blue buff. Shield used on iDivine to keep him from taking too much work from the mid laner Swifty there on Kanga. So the reason why he stays is, as you can see now, he's almost 80% health just after clearing one buff, and he'll go clear back camps and he'll be pretty much full HP again, but doesn't want to lose that on farm because he's already level behind in the jungle. Raven will shortly have the Mass Immune online. Yeah. And while Envy's going for a more aggressive build, going into a mace, probably going to a beat stick to mitigate some of the healing on the side of Legacy. So I understand why you would hang around. He's not under too much pressure. If the pressure came, then he'd back off immediately. But Camazot's one of those junglers that is quite happy to be able to sustain, even if he's at low HP, he'll get back there eventually.
All right, here we go. In the solo lane, KO pinned up, knocked up. There's Freemason getting hit. No, actually, yeah, everyone getting hit by the Lord of the Afterlife through space and time. Swifty's here. Who else comes through it? Terra is there. Cutting off Weave from continuing to peel. Divine taken extremely low. There's the Gib shield on towards him to try to survive. Envisionize looking for the kill. He's out of mana. He needs to survive, so he does. Swifty picking up the kill onto Divine. So that's the first kill of this. KO does not have Lord of the Afterlife to get away. He needs a Janus portal, but it wasn't there in time, and he does get picked up by Freemason. It's 1-for-1 so far. The unstable vortex comes through. The pin onto Swifty forces the beads, and the stun from Torrey Skies will peel for him. After all of that, just ultimates popped, none left for Kanga, and none left for Legacy. 1-for-1 trade.
1-for-1 trade, mid laner for solo lane, but it's just a bit of a messy fight there. We have a look at the graphs. I mean, they still have a 1,000 experience lead. It's only still 700 gold, and you can see that big dip back towards Legacy there, and that's KO dying. There's not a massive spike on either one. So the value trade there is in favor of Legacy. Yeah. Plus they're able to pick up a buff afterwards, I believe. So just a little bit, the aggression's measured. They're not overextending too much, but the trades aren't in their favor in this sense. Chuckle's low on mana. Still happy to fight KO for now. It gets taken pretty low.
Is he going to dive? He doesn't have his ult. Oh, actually he does have his ult back. So that'll cut off the healing. So he could dive and kill him if he wants to, and he does. Lord of the Afterlife misses. So the heal will actually come into the player. The auto attacks trading back and forth. Too many tower shots for KO. He needs to back out because look at the rotation. Freemason is here, and that's got to be the kill. Diving in, he's got nowhere to get out. He does get enough, a lot of damage onto Chuckles, but not enough. And
again, he misses the Lord of the Afterlife, but doesn't choose to immediately disengage. That was a lot of his burst potential just off point, but sticking around under the tower trying to get the kill anyway.
Yeah,
so
he had far too many tower shots.
I think it was like 5 or 6
why
that he
stay
ended
at
up
that
beating.
point?
So whilst he has some physical defense, he can take a few tower shots. He's now 1 and 3. He's only a level behind, but if he keeps doing that, it's going to put so much pressure on his team, and Envy's already 2 levels behind as well, so they can't afford for KO to be this aggressive. Aggression is good, aggression is what gets KO a lot of his leads, but what does he do when he doesn't have that lead? He's still going for that aggression, still trying to solo out Chuckles. Chuckles is a competent enough player that he'll just juke around and spam laugh you when you die. Yeah.
Oh, God. That's pretty accurate of Chuckles, but anyway, yeah, so...
That's why he's El Chuckles, right?
Last. Oh, it fits the name. So KO hasn't actually been behind at all today.
No, this is the first time we've seen him behind all weekend, I believe.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. At the same time, it's just where Kanga are putting their focus, and it's all in that solo lane. It's all on KO. And a bit of damage trading back in the mid lane, but no full engagements coming out, not even a blink on Geb, so there's going to be no surprise cataclysms just yet, not until he possibly hits level 12 and then picks it up second, but so far going for the shell. They've got 2 shells online, and we're just talking in the break how important shell can be.
Yeah, we saw the difference between game 1 between Kanga and Direwolves was that Direwolves had 2 shells and a very healthy, like a health stacked Nuwa.
Yeah.
Those 2 shells were giving them almost 2,000 HP to every character, well, 2,000 HP across the board, which is, that's not a little bit of health. That's a lot of health. That's extra damage they have to burn through, and then Kanga had none on their side, so second and third games they picked up a shell themselves, and it really helped them out in those team fights. There were still 2 shells on the side of Direwolves, but because they had their own little health bubble, it wasn't such a big deficit in health.
Yeah, all right. Would you say at the start of this match, as Old Chuckles forced to use the sprint, Envisionize chasing under the tower, there's Torn onto 2, so he will heal in about 5 seconds. Do they have enough damage to kill him first? No, they certainly do not. Geb is rotating over to help him out at the same time. Divine is finding Swifty, who's out of mana around those mid camps. The rest of the rotation comes over. Envisionized without the ult, uses the Aegis as Divine and Freemason walk into lane. He's got to get picked off there. Backfire comes through, but no, they're missing too many abilities. He needs to get out of there. He gets pinned. One more basic attack will do it. Divine picks it up, but that was too close for comfort.
Yeah, KO's teleporting back in now as well, so they need to get out, and they immediately see that the teleport animation, they just go back and pick up their buffs. So okay, we can't really chase this any further, even though Swifty was quite low on mana. He did manage to get his ultimate off, but unable to save his teammate, unfortunately.
That was so close to Envisionized getting out, and if he had continued walking forward instead of like one single... there was one single juke where if he didn't juke, he still would have lived if he walked straight forward and then been under tower and safe, so...
Honestly, I think at this level of play, sometimes not juking throws players off
Yeah.
more than juking. Because you're like, oh, he's going to juke, and you throw the ability to where you think he's going, and then he just walks straight, and you're like, oh, well, no juke.
It's like playing against bots with a new player that you're teaching, and you're like, this bot's going to be here, but it doesn't juke. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, whoops.
That was... I totally meant to miss there. Anyway.
Confirmed Nightfall worse than bots.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
This is why I cast.
Yeah.
This is why I stopped casting. This is why I do production. Alright, so Legacy do have the lead, 15 minutes in the game. Now, this is where Kanga usually fall off, is where they didn't fall off in the last match. So can they hold on to it into this game? Alright, Sky's getting caught out, getting that double dash off. Does get away, but down to half HP and just a couple abilities.
Yeah, we've seen some long games between these two teams in the past where neither of them really give up any massive leads, and it just kind of it stalls out to the late game, and then one big team fight happens, and that's game decided. So I don't expect too much over-aggression from either team. They're just kind of waiting for the misstep from the other team rather than trying to force something. Although, speaking of that, CGPL gets caught out here in a lot of trouble. Trying to get through the portal, dashes away, Earthshaker off the mark.
Freemason is chasing, Terra's Blessing increases the movement speed, but it doesn't matter. Divine gets it with the Magma Bomb. That's the support down, but he's already used his whole kit, so it doesn't matter. Swifty with a kill onto Divine is traded back mid laner for support. Always worth it for Kanga right there. And Weave caught off guard as well. Does get picked off, so that's a 2-for-1 trade. Support for support and mid on Legacy. Kanga still going hard. KO 2 versus 1 in the backline there. Freemason pushing forward up against Visionized. Galen around the corner getting a bit of damage off. They didn't go for the Gold Fury. They peeled off it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Legacy overextend their stay there, chasing down that Terra. They didn't get the kill initially, and they chased it down, got the kill eventually, but you can see kind of the XP is just even as well as the gold, so despite the trade going that way that you've got a 2-for-1 trade, Kanga don't really get that much more out of it. Unfortunately, not able to get a Gold Fury, not making that call, but Legacy need to be careful that they don't overextend. We're talking about these teams like to punish one another when they overstep.
Yeah.
Kanga are able to punish Legacy, and they just did that then. So if that happens too frequently, then the lead will actually start to mount on the side of Kanga, and we'll see if they can carry their form on from the previous sets.
At the same time, you got to wonder if Kanga, they punished, but they should have capitalized onto the Gold Fury. At least start it off and wait for Legacy to try to stop you, because you're going to live anyway, so you might as well attempt taking it. Especially
if it's a 3v4, so no one was particularly low on the side of Kanga. I think they're all above 60% health, but what they did against Direwolves is they would do that. They started doing that where they got the couple picks and they're like, okay, let's make Direwolves come to us now. Haven't done it just yet. Maybe trying to get a bit more of a lead before they go for it, but that's what I want to see. I want to see them do the same things they did to Direwolves. Make Legacy adjust to that. Make them not go for these fights, and then once you have them on the back foot, then you can start getting your picks, and then going for those off your own bat, rather than counter-engaging off Legacy's aggression.
Yeah. We'll see how this transitions though. 18 minutes. Legacy is still ahead in gold and kills. Could we see the graphs, please? I want to see what the experience is like. Nope, rip. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. It's so even. Look at that. The graph is so back and forth. Experience does not matter in this game. It's even the whole way.
It's even, but it's spread a little bit differently on the two teams. So you've got Swifty a little bit ahead in the mid lane, Gallon a level and a bit above limits in the Hunter role, but then the other side of the map, you've got Chuckles and Mason ahead of KO and Envisionize respectively. So the lead in experience is kind of spread between different players, so it means the two different teams have to play a little bit differently because different players are ahead. Different players are going to be dealing more damage, so they need to look for setup in different ways. We've got the front line of Chuckles and Mason. That's why they're trying to engage, because they're trying to push their pressure that they have in those two roles where they can out-sustain and out-damage their counterparts on the side of Kanga, whereas Kanga are quite happy to kind of counter-engage through space and time is used here to try and get a bit of a surprise gank, but Limits just says, no thanks, I'm good.
See you later. Get stunned, walk away. So the ult's on cooldown. Oh, actually, look at the positioning from Al Chuckles. He just walks straight past Swifty. Swifty using the portal to get back to safety. Regroups with KO and Envisionize. But what's very important is that everyone's got their second relic now. Relics are so important. We keep emphasizing it basically every single game that relics are game changers. It's massive now.
And you can see KO's gone for this teleport Thorns again on Osiris, and they're just missing that second shell. Legacy, on the other hand, have two shells, and that fight where they were overextended, Idavine actually fell. You saw a Geb shield and a shell popped, and he literally had about 10 HP when both of those were used, and he went up to about 60 HP. He still died, but in these late game fights, getting an extra 60% of your HP to burn through on a mage, he's basically a frontliner at that point. You're spending so much to kill him after those are popped and he's still able to deal damage that entire time. So having that double shell is going to be so huge for Legacy. Kanga only have the one, and it's just, is Thorns really worth it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why? Okay, so why the Thorns over the shell? Because, as you just explained, shell is that important. As Golf Fury started off.
I could understand Thorns if the teleport wasn't picked up, but he's essentially got teleport offline, so yeah, he might be able to teleport in behind once he upgrades that to a ward, but why not just get a Swift Wing, grab a shell, because he's not really getting any value out of teleport right now.
Yeah, teleport is a lot weaker now that you can't teleport to those wards, as we've explained this weekend. But KO, still putting it to good use because he's there on time. He's in the fights when he needs to, and Kanga play around that as well. If he's not there, they don't engage. Some teams you'll see that they'll just engage 4v5, and then the solo laners will come out for the cleanup if needed. So, it's strange. It's a strange purchase, but either way.
Yeah, just for me personally, foregoing a second shell, even a second Heavenly would be so much more valuable, I think, to his team.
Yeah.
While the Thorns might be valuable to him, the damage reflection isn't that great. Like, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it might stop them DPSing you, but it doesn't stop them DPSing your team. So essentially you're saying, don't attack me, attack someone squishier. Because you're popping the Thorns and going, alright, I'm just going to walk at you and deal damage, and you guys have to let me go. And they're like, okay, well, we'll let you go, but we'll look for Swifty, we'll look for Envisionize, we'll look for Gallon. And that's not really what you want. You want Osiris to be taking up their mindset. They're like, okay, we have to deal with this Osiris in their face, right? Yeah. Pop the Thorns, see they can't deal with them, so they go, okay, well, what else can we do? Well, there's Swifty, there's Envisionize is used to use his blink to get into the fight. Let's turn on him instead. So it's a little bit counterintuitive to what you need out of that frontline presence, I guess.
It seems to be a bit quiet at the moment. Both teams looking steady, just waiting for an engage from the opponent to try to counter it and just deal with it as a passive rather than engaging themselves. So
actually, Hunter build so far. We've got a full rage blink.
Blink Cataclysm misses from Weave onto the red buff, goes for the damage on it, but it doesn't matter because it's a jungle buff. Red buff secured by Kanga. Now they're jumping on to Divine, and as the Aegis times out, the through space and time hits him. He heals back up though. And Limits is around the corner trying to help deal damage. Beats onto Divine, but it doesn't matter as Galen picks him up with a Petrify. Envisionize is low as Freemason is jumping on towards him. At the same time, Galen gets a double kill off behind the Gold Fury. Freemason trades 1 for 2, and the unstable Vortex from Swifty dealing massive amounts of damage. Can he get away? I don't think he can. He does have a lot of move speed, and that is Swifty picking up his 3rd kill of the game, I think it is, and Limits forced to watch as his team dies.
The issue with Freemason falling there, while he gets a kill and he goes onto a rampage, that increases his gold bounty. So him falling there is an even bigger wing for Kanga. You can have a look at the graphs here. It's now 2,500 experience, 1,000 gold difference to the favor of Kanga. Limits gets 1, gets 2 oracles, walks away. Galen unable to steal those, but just Legacy just kind of trying to make something happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Kanga aren't. Kanga is just kind of sitting back and going, we've got a little bit of a lead. It's not a great lead, but we'll take it. Legacy going, okay, well, we need to make something happen because nothing's happening, right? Yeah. We just said there's not much happening. Then Blink Cataclysm off the mark. Would have only hit Tory Skies anyway. Yeah, that's the support. Not the target that you're looking for in these fights. So maybe they just thought he was there on his own, starting at red buff, they had a ward there perhaps, and or just spotted him out or heard him over the wall. But what do you get out of killing Terra? Enough that you would use a Blink Cataclysm. You don't really get anything out of killing a support, unless they're by themselves, but then usually to burn through their health bar, you're fighting them for at least 10 seconds using regular abilities, or you're expending an ultimate, as we just saw, and you're losing the fight, so there's no reason. And Tori has his own ultimate to help get himself out and heal himself up anyway, so Chuckle's taking a little bit of poke as KO and Visionize give him a little bit of... Freemason, Weave rotating over. Weave's ultimate is back off cooldown, and now they're diving onto the tower. It doesn't matter, that tower is gone. Blink Cataclysm does hit 2 this time. Envisionize up in the sky, should have taken the portal. He moves towards it, but Freemason denies. Divine was on the other side anyway, so it wouldn't matter if he went through there. That was beautiful play from Legacy, and they are able to return one onto Envisionize. 9 to 9 other kills. Yeah, just a little bit late through space and time for Swifty, trying to get his KO in a lot of trouble here. No, Limits picks up a solo kill on Galen at the same time. KO's going to fall here. No, just managed to get away with that Law of the Afterlife, sorry. Tory Skies pops his own ultimate to try and help his team get away, but Portal Demon started up, and Limits can either choose a split push or he can go and try and kill the Gold Tree, which looks like he's going to rotate over. Yeah, he certainly is, and Swifty's going to be there to meet him as Tori is trying to get out, and he goes back through the portal. Will he get away? No. Legacy don't actually jump on him. That would have been great for them to do, but I guess didn't expect it and didn't get ready for him to go through that. They don't really need to chase Tori though, right? We've already discussed chasing down the support isn't that valuable to them. They've got the 1v1 fight where Gold's a bit behind and Build doesn't have crit either, has consistent damage. Legacy get the Gold Fury in the meantime, and Kanga try and get the Portal Demon in response to Chuckles is here to try and dissuade him from that. Will they be able to get there in time? The Vulcan ultimate is off cooldown. Actually, sorry, it's on cooldown. What am I looking at? So the steal potential is hardly there. I mean, the big burst isn't there, but you've got Freemason can dunk in, you've got Chuckles who can get a pin off. Tory Skies is dashing in, beads popped by iDivine to try to survive through space and time, coming through. But Cataclysm hitting straight, and that's massive. Tory Skies does get out using the portal. Galen turning around, does get a 2-man stun. The Lord of the Afterlife is in there as well, denying all healing. Galen down to about half HP. Swift is there as well, but he's low on mana. He needs to get away. Al Chuckles gets a kill, and so does Limits. It's 2 down. Tori does get Divine, so it's a 2-for-1 trade. But look at his HP, and he's so... Actually, is he safe? He is safe, and he's recalling. KO 4 versus 1. Not where you want to be as a solo laner. Limits does pick up that kill, and it's going to be the Portal Demon. Yeah, it's okay to be there as a solo laner when you got your team dealing damage at the same time, but not when it's just a 4v1 and you're on your own. Even as a Cyrus, you're not living through that. It looks like he's going to a stone guy. Galen tries to get around here, see if he can do something. We get caught out here though, but no. Opted away to safety by Weave there.
The root onto Tori. El Chuckles looking to cut him off, but it doesn't matter. Pin gonna root him, and just a bit of damage. I mean, they could have caught off Galen there, but they didn't go ham to try to make that pick.
Yeah, we've maybe just missed timing the CC immunity that causes that knockback out of rollout. I don't think he had Shockwave, because I think he used it to help finish off the Portal Demon, so couldn't cancel it and do the traditional Geb thing where you just kind of cancel right in front, hit the Shockwave for that maximum damage, which one of those little things about Geb that Shockwave actually does more damage the closer you are to your target, so the further away it stays down, one of the few abilities in Smite that has that mechanic involved with it. So we've maybe just a bit of mistiming, maybe it's just like, Galen, get out of here. We don't need you anywhere near the Portal Demon, even as we're finishing it off. So good fight though for Legacy now, 13 to 10, read the kills. A solid little gold lead of about 3k, sorry, about 2.5, 3k for them. Starting to get to a point where it's half an item, 2.5 items, 2,000 experience as well. So you can see that graph is going up and down, up and down, up and down. It's each time a team fight goes to one team or another. Yeah. And it's kind of the story of these two teams playing each other. Yeah,
so I wonder, is that going to happen just on a larger scale? So Legacy have dipped quite a lot, but maybe it'll shoot back up towards Kanga. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to whether the team fights are clean for Kanga, but Chuckles KO going backwards and forwards here. Bit of a grouping in the mid lane.
Indeed. No rotations from the 80 carries just yet. Solo laners and junglers are a little bit grouped. Is that a solo kill onto Galen? Almost. There's Terra's Blessing to help him try to get away through space and time as well. Expended at the... He does actually go down at the same time. The solo laners are going aggressive. Divine's ultimate coming through and it's going to land on to Swifty, and he does go down. Limits with the Geb shield. He's going to survive, and Tori gets picked off as well. It's 3 kills to Legacy for nothing, and Limits on such low HP. He should have got picked off, but all the peel from his team. Gold Fury not off cooldown. They can't go for that, so they just go straight for the tower.
Divine Earthshaker.
That was beautiful.
He shook the earth, and just Swifty's health went from 100%, 10%, dead.
Yep.
And
insane.
We talked about how scary Divine's Vulcan is. He seems to have been the main target from Kanga so far in the game.
Yeah.
And that is why. Out of nowhere, that was... He had vision, sure, from Limits being in range, but just having that knowledge that, okay, they're hard engaging on Limits, I can just throw my ultimate right on top of him, they can't get out. And Swifty caught away from a wall, he couldn't portal himself out, he'd already portaled himself in, so he could avoid the damage that way. And I think he even burned his A just a little late, not expecting the damage to hit him on time.
KO did actually eventually teleport to that mid lane, but the tower falls, so that's an extra 300 gold to all of Legacy, and they are going aggressive, but the double bounce from the Ricochet denies Envision Eyes, and he is trying to get out of there while KO still goes aggressive. Look how big that shield is on Limits. It's basically an extra half health bar, and KO is the first to fall in this fight. Envision Eyes did get forced it back, and he's recoiling off the backside there. El Chuckles a kill onto Galen. That's the 80 carry gone. It's 3 for nothing for Legacy. The Tides have turned 7k gold lead. And all it took was one team fight, getting that gold through, and then they went for the towers, and now they're just snowballing.
And then Kanga in response tried to force a team fight in an unfavorable situation. They tried to catch out Divine, but Divine now and Limits both have a Geb shield that's doing a lot of work for them. Starting to build up that HP, starting to level that shield up a lot more, and should be at max rank now. He's level 17. So this is the power of Geb. When you get these two teams play each other a lot, right?
Yep.
And have played each other in very long games, both in the OPL and the CGPL, I believe.
Yep.
Geb, late game support. Pretty much one of the best late game support. You've got Cataclysm that can stun people for up to 2 seconds. You've got a massive health shield that cleanses CC, as well as knockups to kind of disrupt these team fights. So Legacy, they banned out the Ganesh, the Kepri was banned out, and they were like, alright, we'll grab Geb then, because we'll play the late game.
Yeah, and it seems to be working. Sure, it didn't work around that red buff, we saw him miss it, but saw yesterday against Direwolves, we've just turned around, altered 4 people and won the game off it. So the later this game goes, the more dangerous it is for Kanga.
Yeah, and Legacy now pick up a Gold Fury to go along with their Fire Giant. They're going to probably look over for this Portal Demon. And all that Kanga can really do is kind of sit back
and
probably
out
just
fire.
let the tier 2s go, at least one of them go, and defend under Phoenixes, because maybe they can get a little bit of poke off at the tier 2 and then fall back. But if Legacy decide to full engage now, they're at a point where they're an item ahead, it's going to be the end of the game. It's not going to be, okay, Kanga are out of it. The game will end. Legacy will just walk down and finish the game. Finish the game. If they get 2 or 3 picks here, that'll be it.
Here we go. Terra's Blessing is popped. Dash and the root onto Divine. He gets the give shield to stay alive. This is Kanga fighting into a Fire Giant buffed up Legacy, and they can't do this again. Envision Eyes went too far as Kamazots, and he just for a support yesterday, and we don't want to see that happen again, as Limits taken extremely low. Aegis and Gift Shield to try to stay alive. Swifty is the first to fall in this fight. Divine with a kill onto Tori, and Envision Eyes KO the next to fall as well. It's a double kill for iDivine, and Weave just pushing forward. Galen the only one left. He's going to get knocked up and eventually killed. Uses the beads, uses the Aegis, and just turns around. He knows he's dead. That's a tier 1 down. Sorry, tier 2 down for Legacy. The tier 1 fell just before. This is Legacy possibly closing out the game.
They should end the game here. Surrender vote was started by Kanga. Likely they will just end this game before anyone respawns anyway. So that lead is 15k experience, 14k gold, and 35-minute game. Kanga managed to extend the game out, but then they hit that 20-25 minute mark and their patience just kind of disappeared, and they lost one team fight, tried to make it come back immediately with a second team fight, and they lost that one as well, and iDivine came up huge with those Earthshakers.
He did. That was insane.
That last fight, and the fight before that, and the fight before that, he was hitting 2, 3, 4 targets on the side of Kanga.
It was crazy.
They were just deleted off the map. Envy died before he could even get up into the air in his ultimate, and just was the game changer, really.
Yeah.
Limits soloed Galen a couple of times, and that kind of made Galen go back into his shell again. So Kanga, they need to mix things up a little bit. Bit more CC. I think they lost the CC game in the end. So a little bit more CC heavy comp. If you're going to go with the Cyrus, maybe don't pick up the Kamazots. Yes, it gives you pressure, but you're sacrificing CC in both of those slots. You've only got a slow on each of them. And a conditional stun, which is very easy to avoid from a Cyrus. So I want to see them go for a more CC heavy comp. That's what I think they need to change up a little bit here.
To be fair, it was basically all on Tori, on that Terra. And while he was hitting decent stuns, it was the root that wasn't used that effectively. So he was only relying on the stun that is easily dodged and easily seen because it's so broadcasted. You can bead so early, and it's fine. You can just continue walking. But yeah, no, I 100% agree. Same thing, actually. Staying on support, Ganesha banned. Did we see the effect of that being banned against Kanga or Legacy? Was there any reason to ban it?
Definitely. I think the unsung hero from the Direwolves game was Tori Skies on that Ganesh.
Okay.
It caused Direwolves to not be able to finish off kills in the backline in the team fights, where their front line was getting to the backline, but Ganesh just sat back there with them and peeled. So the issue with putting all of your peel onto your support is your frontliners need to win their fights. If they don't win their fights, then your entire team wipes. And we saw that a couple of times where the frontliners died. So your Envy and KO on the front line on the Osiris and Kamazots, they either died or they didn't manage to pick up the kill because of the double shell coming out of Legacy. And then they're stuck out there because Terra can't peel for them at the same time as peeling for the carries.
It's difficult.
You can't. You can only juggle so much CC and so much peel on one player. So
pretty much.
Bring some CC, whether it's mid. Like, they brought the Medusa, which helped them, and it won them a couple of fights in the mid-game.
It certainly did. Galen
played it very well, and got that early first blood with the earlier Envy rotation onto Limits, but they just need a little bit more. Just something a bit more to help out Tori Skies in these team fights, because you're putting too much pressure on that one player. It's pretty difficult for any one player to carry a game of Smite in any role, right? yes, you can have outstanding games and you can say, oh, that guy carried, but it still comes down to what the rest of the team does with that person that's playing the best or is peeling really well. It doesn't matter if one person is going fantastically. If the rest of your team isn't able to give you a hand at the same time and help you out in a sense. Smite's a team game.
It certainly is.
Help each other out, guys. Like,
it's 5v5 for a reason. It's not 1v5 or 2v5. So KO bought Thorns. No shell. Do you think the shell would have made a drastic effect? Personally, I think up against a Vulcan ult, I think a shell is going to deny a lot of damage.
Yeah, a second shell especially. So you pop the first shell, it gets popped by that ultimate, but then you've got a second shell to boost your team up so that you're not all still taking like, a damage again. So it definitely made a difference in a lot of those fights where Legacy popped one shell, got burnt through, and then El Chuckles came in, popped his shell, and they were able to sustain through those fights, despite them not playing heavy